Another story. This time is about a king in one town. The king had 7 wives. They were all having female children. One did not have at all, and they called her Mkpolasi the Hated One. Mkpolasi the Hated One, other people were maltreating her because she didn't have any child. They were they were saying all kinds of things to her, nasty things. She kept quiet and kept living her life. The other ones were being bought beautiful clothes. They were wearing gold, pearls, everything. She was poor, but she was king's wife, and she was the hated one because she didn't have a child. One day, and the king was agonizing over his not having a male child. And one day, he was sitting in front of his palace, and he saw an old woman, wretched woman, coming down the path, carrying a big luggage and uh, uh, really looking tired with her walking stick. The king sent his uh, slaves to go and help the woman. They went and helped the woman, brought the woman. The king ordered for the woman to be fed. The woman was fed. She took her bath. And then the king said the slave will help her home and take what she had and carry it for her. She said, King, since you are so kind, I will give you one thing your heart has been desiring. The king said, my heart desire? He said, yes, I'll give it to you. You've been looking for a male child. I will give you a male child. Call all your wives. All of them came, apart from Mkpolasi, the hated one. The old woman gave them things to eat, and they took it. They all ate. And the old woman said, you still have 1 wife. You have 7 wives. I've only seen 6. The king called on Mkpolasi reluctantly. Mkpolasi came. The old woman also gave her something to eat. In the next month, they all got pregnant. They were all pregnant, and the pregnancy was growing. By the 9th month, they were ready to have their baby. The king sent them to the riverbank with midwives to minister unto them and then get the babies. But he gave an injunction. He said, if any woman, I have too many girls. If any of the women had a girl, throw it into the river. If any had a boy, bring the child home. When they got to the river, the 6 wives all gave birth to a female child. And the midwives threw the whole children into the water, remaining Mkpolasi. Mkpolasi gave birth to a male child. The other wives screamed and told the midwives that if they ever took that child home, they were going to deal with them. They should throw away the child. They threw away the child, and then they all went home and reported that they all had female children. Meanwhile, there was this old woman at the riverbank that saw what they did and took the male child and entered into the forest and raised the child. She was poor. She was only giving the child what she could gather around the forest. By the time the child was 7 going to 8, one day the child was in front of the old woman's house doing his chores and saw a dog. It happened that the king was in the bush hunting, and the dog left the king and ran towards that place the boy was. When the boy saw this dog, the boy started singing. Nkitezi choba monda, alaka nkitezi chota monya, nyalaka na meze tili wonya, nyalaka amụta nwanyị tụfuo ya nya nyalaka amụta nwoke kunata ya nya nyalaka nne mụta mfa tụfuo m nya nyalaka. She was saying, the king's dog, you've come to look for me. My father, the king, gave an injunction that if they had a baby girl, they should throw away. If they had a male child, they should bring the child home. But when I was given birth to and I was a male child, they threw me away. The dog ran back, went to the king and was wagging the tail, running around the king. The king said, what is this dog trying to tell me? He asked one of the slaves to go and find out what the dog was trying to tell them. The slave went, or we can call it the servant, went with the dog. When they got to the place where the child was, the boy started singing again. Odibeze chotamo nda nyalaka, odibeze chotamo nyalaka, nameze tiliwo nyalaka, amụta nwanyị tụfuo ya nyalaka, amụta nwoke kunata ya nyalaka, nne mụta mụ tụfuo m nyalaka. The servant rushed back to the king and said, please come and hear what I'm hearing. The king followed the servant again. And then when they reached where the child was, the child started singing. Eze chotamo nyalaka, nameze chotamo nyalaka, nameze tiliwo nyalaka, amụta nwanyị tụfuo ya nyalaka, amụta nwoke kunata ya nyalaka, nne mụta ma tụfuo m nyalaka. The king thought about it, started asking, where's your mother? Then the old woman came out and told the story of how he got the child. The king went back to ask his people. All the women claimed to be the mother of the boy. So now he said, okay, all of you will cook. He went to a native doctor that told him to do this. You will all cook. If anybody whose food the child ate would now be the mother. They all cooked. The king gave them enough money to buy all kinds of meat, all kinds of delicacies, and they cooked. But nothing was given to Mkpolasi. She went and got an unripe plantain, cut it up as usual. That's how she's been living. Put all kinds of leaves from the backyard, basil leaf, all kinds of leaves there, and cooked her food and stayed under the ora tree. The other ones were sitting visibly in the arena. She was there almost invisible, hidden. Then the child came out, went to the first wife's food, ate it, spit it out. And then a bird up there started singing to the child. Ọmalingwe, ọmalingwe, nwa ọma, ọmalingwe, 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 nwa ọma, ọmalingwe, nne gị dị na ukwu ọrị n'ugo, ọmalingwe, ngwe, ngwe, nwa ọma, ọmalingwe. The bird was saying, ọmalingwe, the good child, your mother's food is under the ora tree. Then the child kept eating all the food, spitting them out until the 6 women's food were spit out. Then he went to under the ora tree and saw the food that looked like what his old mother in the forest gave him when he was growing up. And he ate it, he liked it, he sat down there and started eating and eating. Everybody shouted. The king ran out, carried him, everybody, then got the 6 wives who were lying to him and sent them out, and then took Mkpolasi to be his only wife with the child, Omalingwe. That's the end of the story.